car salesmen are annoying.
Sign here, please.
Never talk to one again with FlexCar, the first and only month-to-month car lease.
Oh, no.
Get a great car? Switch anytime. FlexCar. You drive everything.
Hey everyone, Becky here to remind you that August 15th is Romance Bookstore Day. So I definitely encourage you to see if any of your local bookstores are participating. If you can't find anything or if you're busy, it doesn't mean you can't have Romance Bookstore Day too. From August 12th until the 19th, Libro is having a huge sale on romance audiobooks. And with many of their sales prices often being $5 and under, what a great opportunity to stock up on all of the romance audiobooks you've been meaning to read. Check out the link in this episode's show notes to find your next great, discounted romance read on Libro. Happy Romance Bookstore Day! Hi, everyone, and welcome to Too Stupid to Live, a podcast that reviews romance novels $5 and under. I'm your host, Becky Feldman, here with a new episode. I mean, it was recorded last month, and oh, how I have been yearning to release it to you. And truly, it's been agonizing on my sensitive heart and my sensitive soul just to leave you, the listeners, unrequited in an audible or visual way. But finally, we can all be set free. Today, we are getting scorched with burning desire by discussing the Harlequin Firefighter romance, Kansas City's Bravest by Julie Miller. And I am so excited about today's guest, the brilliant and hilarious co-host of the Bravo podcast, Wackadoodle Time. Ellen Haun is here. Amy was on earlier this month, and I had to have Ellen on after I was on her podcast. You guys, we had a great time. Obviously, we chatted about this book, but we also brought up Ellen's personal connection to it. Beyond just the male hero encapsulating everything anyone wants in a lover. No, it's really a sweet backstory. So please enjoy this review of Kansas City's Bravest. It's all happening. Welcome to Kansas City. And also, welcome to Too Stupid to Live, Ellen.
Hi! I'm so excited to be here.
I am so excited you are here. Oh my gosh. Like, we were just talking about another hyperfixation of mine, that it's based on a podcast that you host. I am obsessed with Bravo in addition to romance novels. I was on your pod. You're on my pod. It's happening.
It's all happening, baby. From one pod to another.
From one pod to another. But tell us about Wackadoodle Time. Tell us all about it.
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. So Amy Height and I co-host a podcast called Wackadoodle Time that's all about Bravo. We do talk about other reality television. We are proudly not a weekly recap pod. We talk about the shows. We talk about what's going on. We usually, at the end of each season, we usually talk about what happened that season. But mostly we invite our friends on to discuss their unhinged theories or whatever they think about whatever Bravo show they want to talk about. So some episodes have included, I did a compare and contrast of that classic LA versus New York conundrum through the lens of Vanderpump Rules versus Summer House. We've talked about, let's see, what are some other we've talked about mother wounds and which franchise has the most complicated relationship with their mothers.
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And Becky, remind me what you talked about. Cause
obviously we were talking about Summer House, and it was all because this has just basically been kind of the cultural zeitgeist amongst Bravo heads. Yeah. Bravo, is just, how can you not? Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
It's all consuming. But it's really fun. And I feel like we try to be smart people talking about stupid things, which is probably my favorite genre of content to content. Oh my God, I can't believe
No, you just said it, but you're right.
I said it, but also art. It's my favorite thing to discuss. I love lowbrow, highbrow. That's my favorite combination of everything.
Yes. Oh my God. This is why I'm so glad you're on the show, because I love that kind of stuff too. And I am not calling myself highbrow. This is not me saying that. But I do love looking at culture that is made for the wide audience, analyzing it, and seeing what it says about ourselves.
Yeah. For sure. And it's also, I think, interesting to, I don't know if you've had this experience, but there are some pieces of pop culture that like obviously totally resonate with me and I love, and then there are also some that I just am not interested in, and I also kind of find joy in sitting those out. And I also like the interrogating, like, why do I like this? Why do I not like this? I'm just rapidly approaching the, this is maybe a saturation point thing, but I'm rapidly approaching that with Summer House, where I'm like, I can't talk about this scandal anymore. I'm not interested. I'm just so exhausted.
You're absolutely right. And like, because like we were just talking about like the video I watched this morning with the whiteboard thing, and it really doesn't, like, nothing is new. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no like bombshell breaking news thing that's happening. It's just like a rehash of like everything everyone else is saying. But like there's an addictive nature to it where you're like, oh my God, let me watch it. And then you're like watching it and then you're like, oh, well, it really didn't give us anything. Why wasted my time?
Right.
But it was worth it.
Yeah.
So after I was on your podcast, you like explained to me that your grandmother is like basically the namesake of a series of Harlequin intrigue romance novel, or like a series that came out in like the early 2000s. And I was like, this is fascinating. You have to come on the show. We have to discuss this. So like, first of all, what I love is that like so many people have Harlequin, like it's a thing that like when people find it, they're like, oh, I think of my mom because my mom read them, or I think of my grandma because my grandma read them. But you have such an interesting, fascinating kind of connection.
Yeah. So let me tell you the story, and then I'll insert a disclaimer. So my grandma, her name was Virginia Taylor. She Ginny Lee. I'm from Kansas City. She is born and raised in Kansas City. She had this really, really tight-knit group of girlfriends that were just like always in my life. They all, at this point, my grandma was like widowed, pretty early. I think maybe she was in her 40s or 50s. I don't know exactly. But she always had, I just remember her having this like big group of girlfriends, and they would always go on trips together, and they would always be hanging out at her house together. And I think also kind of around this time, a lot of them didn't have spouses anymore either, whether they had been widowed or divorced or whatnot. And so this group of girlfriends, what I remember is that they called themselves the Old Bat Brigade. And I love it. I love it so much. I think it's so funny. And I know that they had two different names, and I forget what the other one was. So apologies if there are people listening who remember the people involved here. But so it was my Grammy, Ginny Lee, and then she had Susie, Fleta, Mary Beth, Fritzy, and Barb. Those were their names. I love them all so much. I have a lot of like very fond childhood memories of all of them. But especially Fritzy and Barb. Fritzy, Barb, and my grandma had all known each other since I think kindergarten. Like a long time.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
It's very cool and very special. So Barb, I remember very well. And I remember being a kid. I don't remember how old I was. But I remember my grandma saying like, oh, well, Barb's daughter writes romance novels. And I didn't really have an understanding of what that was or like what that meant. I knew that that meant that they were like a little racy. Again, I didn't really understand what that meant. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember my grandma saying, well, and some people look down on that, but I think it's great. I mean, how hard is it to write a book? And she's written lots of books. And I just was like, yeah, that's right. That's cool. Wow, that's awesome to write so many books. And okay, so then flash forward to like maybe maybe 3 years ago. It was my grandma's 90th birthday, and we had like a big party for her. And Barb was there, and Julie, Barb's daughter, was there, Julie Miller, and I had just struck up a conversation with her. I'd never met Julie before. But we were talking, and we were just making conversation, and then it came up, and she said, oh, well, I'm a writer. I have written romance novels. And I was like, and like things started clicking in my brain, and I was like, oh, you're Julie. I know about you. You're the daughter that writes romance novels, and my grandma thinks it's really cool. And so, yeah, so my grandma's last name is Taylor. And the men in this book, this is the Taylor clan. There are, what is it, four boys and one daughter. Now, the caveat here is that I remember my grandmother proudly saying, oh, well, you know, Julie named some characters in the books after us. And Taylor's a really popular name, so I don't know that it was exactly. And you're a writer, you know that like you take inspiration from everywhere,
right?
But yes, that's what I remember my grandmother saying. Like, well, you know, she named some characters after us. And I will say that the daughter Jessica is antique stealer / buyer restorer, which is what my grandma was.
No way! Oh my God.
Yeah. I do think Barb, Julie's mom, I believe also was very into antiques. They went shopping together a lot. They would go to like auctions and buy things and stuff. But yeah.
That is so cool. Yeah, because, you know, in the beginning of the book, because like I was like, I am going to read this like old school, like I ordered the original like copy and I was like, because there's a whole like character list when you open the page of all of like the Taylors and of the Taylor clan and the stuff. So like, I was like, oh, is Martha Taylor your but it's just like they just took the name. It's more like Jessica Taylor is more your grandma. Yeah. I'm gonna say that.
Yes, So, Jessica's my grandma.
Yeah. I love it. So had you read this book before? Like how did you like get it? Like what was the
from my grandma
stuff?
Well, I got it from my grandma's house. She had a bunch of them. When she died a couple years ago, and I think I had taken it before then because she just had a lot of books in her house, and it was all of Julie's romance novels were there. And I was like, oh, I've never read one of these. And she said, oh yeah, take it. And I also remember my grandma was like a huge reader. I remember she read 50 Shades of Grey. That's right. Yeah. She read. Yes. And because she said, I remember her saying, you know, everyone is talking about this book, so I have to read it. And she read it, and then she was like, "Oh, it was great. Get it out of my house."
Yeah, because it is like a lot of like I totally get that where it's like you read it and you're like one and done. I don't, you know, like it was a really fun experience. This isn't something I'm going to go back to, but I loved doing it. Yeah, I totally get that.
And I also remember my great-grandma, my grandma's mom, had these like I don't know if she made them or she probably made them, but like fabric book covers that she would put around her romance novels so you couldn't see what she was reading.
That is so cute.
And if that's not Midwest core, then I don't know what is.
Oh my God, I love that because it's just like there's a part of me that's like you should just like write like Moby Dick in like permanent marker in your own handwriting and everyone's thinking like, wow, what a smart lady.
You had no idea what I'm up to over here.
Like, so had you ever read a romance novel before?
No, I have to confess, no. Romance is not really my genre. So this was the first one that I'd ever read, and I was like doing some I was doing like research about or I was like looking up Harlequin and like the different lines, and I love that this was also a mystery. I love that it was Harlequin intrigue because I'm a big mystery girl. Like I think I've read most Agatha Christie books, and I had a real strong Mary Higgins Clark phase. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that because like when I first started reading romance and like wasn't like telling or you know I was just like kind of keeping it to myself. It was like kind of like my like I would like every day like you know or every night I go to bed or get ready for bed and I read a little bit of like I'm gonna say a not a regular book but like literary fiction.
Sure.
But then I would just like switch to either Harlequin intrigue or any of these like romantic suspense that were just quick reads. And that would be like, okay, finally, me time, you know? And it was like this kind of like, there's mystery, there's stalkers, there's like crime happening, but there's also like so much yearning and sexual tension. And I swallowed these up like chocolate milk. Like it was just like these were the books that like got me through my 20s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like because you are an actor, you're a performer, and you're in like the creative arts, like you know, romance is a genre like in films and in TV shows. Like, what is your thought about like kind of just the romance genre?
Totally. I really I feel like so many women in my life like watched soap operas, and we talk a lot about how like Bravo and that kind of genre of reality television has kind of replaced soap operas a little bit. And I think that also, I mean, like most millennials, I have such a love of the Nora Ephron rom-coms of the 90s. And I think what I loved about those movies, and what I think the movie rom-com genre doesn't really have right now, is that those movies felt like they were about adults with like serious responsibilities, like that had jobs and problems, and then also like ended up falling in love, and that was wonderful. Even like, no offense to the wonderful, like all of the Kate Hudson and Matthew McConaughey, like that chunk of rom-coms, I didn't ever like those as much, because there was there was more of a sheen on those she's a writer for a magazine, and she lives in this beautiful apartment, and I really, really like I really like romantic stories that do feel grounded in the real world in some way, and you're like watching this couple come together like through it all. You know what I mean? And I think a little bit that's why I really enjoyed Heated Rivalry, like and Heated Rivalry maybe had a little bit more camp to it, I suppose. But it's so fun because I just think the world of that show is so fun, and it's a world that we haven't seen like a rom-com in before. At least in TV. I'm talking about like TV film here.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, because like people are like blown away by like Heated Rivalry and now like Off Campus and like other kind of like adaptations. And I loved what you said about soap operas, because I do think that like, and this is also in Bravo shows, there are these like really heightened emotions and heightened angst. And like there is like, you just made me think. I love going back to visit my like aunt and my cousin, and hearing them talk about Days of Our Lives is just one of the most. I love hearing them talk about like everything that happened, and we can all like remember like certain storylines and catch up. And I think it's like the same thing with Bravo shows. There's nothing more beautiful than like people coming together and talking about like soap operas, romance novels, Bravo shows. Like it brings people together.
Yes, totally. My very first acting job was, I had like 3 lines on One Life to Live, and my aunt was like so excited. I mean, I was really excited, but
sure.
But when I told, I had one aunt, and she was like, I have watched One Life to Live every year for every day for 20 years. Well, and I was like, well, I'm working at an airline desk.
That's amazing. Oh my God. I love that kind of stuff. Just like when like you're booking something, and maybe it's not like kind of like your dream, but like you book it, and then just like someone is like, that is my life. You are a royalty to me now. I love that.
Yeah. It was so fun. This is also like, I remember talking about this in the soap opera world, and something that I also appreciate about going back to like why I love those Nora Ephron rom-coms so much is that they are like grounded in reality in a certain way. A lot of soap operas, I think, because they've been on so long, women look, obviously everyone is very beautiful, but there is like more size diversity on those shows than I think you normally see in network television. And I mean, again, I'm still talking about like within a pretty narrow frame, you know what I mean? But
sure, 100%. Yeah.
But, and like people age on those shows in a way that they don't on like network prime time, in a way that I find that I really like. And I think coming back to this book, I like watching adults have romantic problems, as opposed to with Love and Light, people in college having romantic problems. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I think you're really tapping into something, because like right now people are like, especially in like the romantasy genre, like everyone's like 18. Yeah. And not that there's anything wrong with being 18. We all love 18-year-olds. Okay, I guess. I don't know. But like we're now like I've noticed in myself, like when I'm like picking books to read just for my own, like not for this podcast or anything like that, I am gravitating towards stories that revolve around a character that is, I'm using quotes, middle-aged, where it means like in this genre 30 and older, which basically is not true at all because I was not middle-aged when I was 30. But just like people who have like more life experience, you know what I mean? Yeah. And not people who are adults for the first time.
Yeah. I don't remember if they ever say how old Megan is, but it comes up many times in the book that Gideon is 35. And they're like, oh, yes, now he's a weathered, grizzled 35. And I was delighted by that every time it happened.
Yes. Oh my God. And even though like they make her, I want to say, like in these books, like I always like feel like, oh, she's 28. She's 28. Because like 28 is the thing where it's like, okay, yeah, you don't have wrinkles yet, but you've lived a life. You know what I mean? Yeah. And right. That is like 28 in this book is the equivalent of, I'm going to say 41 in real life, at least in LA real life. Okay, so we'll get to the book. Okay, so just to get everyone on board, we are reviewing and read Kansas City's Bravest by Julie Miller, the daughter of Barbara
Binger.
Yes, Barb's daughter. Barb Binger. Okay. So this is the first book in the Taylor Clan series. It's part of the Harlequin Intrigue imprint, and the mass market paperback, which we both read, it came out originally in 2003. So, okay, here's a quick synopsis. Some former lovers have a second chance romance, but for Gideon and Megan, it's a second chance sizzle. These two heroes are five-alarm hotness, reunited to uncover who is mysteriously setting fires in order to stalk Megan. But even though they're extinguishing actual flames, their personal flames of desire grow to a towering inferno blazing with love, passion, regret, secrets. Soon they'll come to realize that some loves burn out, but theirs, no, it burns on. So I do want to talk about like tropes to begin with. Like you mentioned like, you know, your love of like Nora Ephron movies and kind of like that kind of realm of rom-coms. What are your thoughts on like this storyline of like two former lovers? They were made for each other, but now they're like coming back together for the first time. Like, do you love that stuff?
I love a second chance romance. Oh, I love it so much. You know, I've written several rom-coms and most of them are second chance romances.
Yes.
Because I think there's something so rich in the character development where you have these two people who love each other and have a connection, but somehow, for some reason, the timing isn't right. Whether that's a world thing, whether that's a character thing, and they've got to go away and they have to grow up a little bit. They each have to change in certain ways. And I love watching them come back together. That's just one of my favorite things.
Oh my God. Then I am so glad that was like the main trope in this book. Cause it's kind of like what you were talking about of like a second chance romance, like is a very an adult love story because they've been through shit and they've learned so much about themselves. And it's like kind of like, okay, a lot of the times like they've learned something about themselves and there's just one little teeny like aspect that they need to kind of fix. And it's true love.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just, you know, it shows that there's an undeniable chemistry between the two of you, or there is a bond that you just can't ignore. You can't walk away from.
Yes. And there's also like what you were talking about of just like the timing isn't right. There is such tragedy in that. But but this works out, so, which is great. But like there's but like when we need like yearning and angst and the fact that like we see these two characters perfect for each other and it didn't work out, like our hearts are ripped out of our chests.
Yeah.
So going on to like what you were saying about like having like adults work through shit and finding love, I also think it kind of like delves into like their character archetypes because both Gideon and Megan are like these like tortured, wounded souls. What did you think about that?
Oh, I loved it so much. Oh gosh, they're both so wounded. They both have such angst. Obviously, family is like a major theme in this book, and we've got Megan, who doesn't have any biological family. I believe dad ran off, mom is dead. She has this tragic backstory with an uncle and aunt, but she has this found family in Doree and then like the 4 foster kids. And then Gideon, on the other hand, has this whole clan. He's got, 4 brothers, and the brothers keep popping up in the book, and he's got this sister. And I love how in some ways Gideon's like perfect family became a problem for him a little bit.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not a problem, just in that, like, he had this huge big family that loves each other very much, and like that's what he wants to. And he's 35, so that clock is ticking.
Oh boy, is it. The gray hairs are happening. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Middle-aged Gideon. And so I just liked, I thought that was really complimentary. And I liked that they were both they had these backstories that complement, that, hey, that's a puzzle. Those are 2 little pieces that fit together perfectly.
Mm-hmm. But it's just not time to put them together. I love what you were saying. Like, okay, like our culture really values big families
Mm-hmm.
that are close. Like we see like something like the Taylor clan as like the epitome of like happiness. You know what I mean? And I feel like the character of Megan is like, that's at least what she thinks, and she's like, I'm the opposite of that. I'm on the other side, like not the wrong side of the track, but like the wrong side of the tracks of happiness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm all alone. And it was so fun because as a reader, like as soon as she showed up to Dory's house, Doree, I'm not exactly sure how I would say it. Mm-hmm. As a reader, that's like my number one problem, is that I read names in my head and then I'm like, I don't know if that's right.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's fine. Like, listen, they wrote this story as something to read, and so if we whatever you're saying is true.
Great, wonderful.
Your pronunciations is right.
And so as a reader, as soon as Megan pulls up to Doree's house and they're the 4 boys, the 4 foster kids, I was like, girl, this is your family. You just don't know it yet.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it was really a delight to be like, okay, you got 200 pages to figure this out. How are you going to figure it out?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. I loved that. And like, also, like, I think I'm so curious if like we as like just based on like what we know now, and like found family is such a huge, like, again, to bring it back to Bravo shows, like those are found families.
Yes,
we
totally.
know that's such a part of like our lives now. Like, did you find yourself ever like getting ahead of Megan's kind of like emotional journey of like, you have a not that, I mean, I know, not to negate her tragedy, but you know what I mean?
Sure. I think a little bit, but like the 2 boys that are biologically brothers and the one doesn't speak. Mm-hmm. As soon as they mentioned like hopefully somebody will adopt both boys, I was like, oh, I think I know who could adopt both boys. I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cause it kind of is like, it's like, we know that like cause like they also like mention like Dory is like, they're like, she's 72. Not that that's old, and you can still raise 4 foster boys.
I don't know. 72 is old to be running around. It is hard to be a 72-year-old person taking care of toddlers. I would say that is a challenge. So
yes, I agree. Like, well, I feel like it's hard to be 72 and taking care of toddlers. It's not to negate that it's not hard for everyone. I know, but yes.
Yeah, no, it's hard for everyone. And I'm like, yeah, no, I've got one and I'm tired.
Right.
And I'm simply middle-aged.
It's like, it kind of like opens the idea of like, yeah, she's gonna, but it's fine. It's fine. But like in terms of like Megan as a character, she's like really down on herself because I think a big part of her backstory is that she cannot have children biologically. And we discover that like that's the reason why, one of the reasons why she kind of pushed herself away or, kind of isolated herself from Gideon and their love fell apart. Yeah. And so there does bring up like this kind of like important thing of like fertility and how like at that time, everyone was seeing like women's value based on can you or can you not have kids? Not do you want kids? It's can you have kids? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this is something that we talk a lot about with respect to Bravo too.
Love it.
Just because so this was written in 2003, and like what is it now? 2026, and it is I think just so drastic that the change in conversation in the last 20 years has been it's just been so drastic. So many women now talk about like IVF, and also, you know, like their IVF, I'm sure was significantly more challenging and expensive to do in 2003. I don't think the science was totally there. And obviously this character, Megan, has had a hysterectomy, so that's not even an option for her. But I think there's just so much cultural conversation now about like families can look different. Like adoption is a wonderful option. That doesn't mean it's not without challenges, but an adopted family is still a family. And there's been so much conversation now about like surrogacy. Again, which wouldn't be an option for the character, but like, you know, the only time that I was disappointed in Gideon as a character was after the kind of dramatic reveal when Megan finally tells him, you know, like, I know you want kids and I biologically can't have kids. And like, isn't that something you want? And wouldn't that be a deal breaker? And I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but he basically says like, yeah, that is something I do want. I really want kids. And I think that, and I was like, no, Gideon, come on. You guys can figure it out. You could do it. And I do think it's like, I think just from a cultural conversation perspective that's maybe not how that conversation would go now in 2026. Yeah. But also, like, you know, those feelings around having a family are so strong, you know, no matter what. Like, some people, it really is really important to have your own biological kids. And, like, that's okay. Like, you know, however you want to make a family is how you should do it.
Right. Totally. 100%. And like, yeah, because like, you know, compared to like some of the books that I read that are published more recently, when a female character is like, listen, like there's a lot of like, I can't have biological children.
Sure.
You get the response from the man being like, do you think that I want to be with you, that you are the person, you know what I mean? And I was like almost expecting him to say that. And do you know what I mean? Like, of just being like, do you think that matters? Like, do you know, I mean, not that it doesn't matter. I share your pain, but like also I want to be with you no matter what, you know?
Yeah. And so a little bit, I did appreciate his honesty there when he was like, oof. Yeah. Like he just says no. I believe the line is just no. Because also, like, that's a normal, that's a big piece of information, and it's normal to, like, take it in and absorb it and be like, oh, well, that is how I thought my family would look. And it's just going to take me a while to process that maybe that's not how my family's going to look.
Right, yeah. And also to give him more grace, like, and this is what I love about this, specifically romantic thriller genres, they're also, like, hiding out from a stalker who's, like, a narcissist, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, it's the timing of it all is so great.
They're busy. They are stressed. They're not at their emotional best selves.
No. Like, this is not a conversation to have when, like, literally,
no.
like, babies are stuck in fires.
Because, like, I think that they're having this conversation at his apartment because, like, she's been hiding out because the stalker is coming after her, and he's like, you gotta come with me. Yeah, stressful. Don't have that conversation now.
Yeah, because it's always like, and I think what like this book does really well, like, I mean, I think it's like also a structure thing of like, just when like you think he's about to say like, I'm gonna love you no matter what, like it's like someone gets a call or like something happens where it's like bombshell, and then it's like we gotta table this
another
conversation.
Fire. Yeah. That happened a lot. That happened a lot when it was like, hey, can we talk about us? No, we gotta go fight a fire. No, we got a crime to solve.
Yes. And like, I live for that stuff. But I do like love this kind of like bodyguard trope of like, he's like, I cannot let you out of my sight. Like that. I mean, she can take care of herself quite well. And that is proven. She is a firefighter. She does like, she's a badass. But like, I just like that primal animalistic urge to like be like, you are part of my soul. How could I not protect part of my soul? And you're like, yes.
I loved the physical description over and over of how tall he is. And then Megan is like pretty petite. I forget exactly what they say, but like 5'3" or something. And they, you know, she has like a chippy line about like, I meet the height and weight requirements for the Kansas City Fire Department. I was like, yeah, girl. Yeah, you do. So, but I am a tall lady. And I'm 5'9". And when I was dating, when I would see couples that were a very tall man and a very petite woman, I would get angry. I would say, I was like, I'm sorry, there are not that many of them. And those of us that are actually 5'9" cannot be dating men who say on their dating profiles that they are 5'9" because they are 5'7".
Right. Oh my God. You know what's like so weird is that like my dating experience, I'm such a weirdo, like my life experience when it comes to dating, that I'm 5'0". Like I am short. And I hated going out on dates with tall men because one, I'm scared everyone thinks that he looks like my father and I'm a child. Two, like the idea of like the neck pain and standing on my tiptoes. Like it's so much.
That's a lot of geometry. It's complicated. It's very hard.
Yeah, and so I'm like, why aren't short ladies like going after short men? You know, just for like the comfort of it all. Like it's just always like that's like the one thing that always like boggled my mind as like just like being a person in this world.
That's really funny. That was I loved how every time she would describe like how Megan's head like hit perfectly like where his shoulder was. And I was like, that's very nice. That's very sweet. Megan, back off. Find somebody shorter to date.
Yes.
that was my reader urge.
I love that though, because it is like this weird thing of like, okay, like it sometimes feels like, okay, like your heights, like if your heights are perfect, that means the two of you are perfect. And so it's like, okay, if she gives you a hug and your chin is able to rest comfortably on the top of her head, like that's how you know they're soulmates versus anything else.
Yeah. I mean, literally a puzzle piece. These two are meant to be.
They were meant to be. It's so funny because I feel like in this book, like there was like, and I think this was, I'm like curious if this was, because it felt very like nostalgic to me while reading, is like how many times like Gideon, not only his height is talked about, but like his body, his Adam's apple, he like, I mean, it is so much just like more so than like the amount of sex scenes in it. Like the sex was just the like the hotness was the prose of how his body is described.
Yeah. His body is banging. And I loved that his trauma, this traumatic past backstory where his partner died and he wasn't able to save him when they were fighting a fire. And he has like two severely burned fingers that don't work. So like his trauma is physically a part of his body and you can see it. And in the sex scene, that's when he like pulls back, is like when he like won't touch her with his hand that doesn't work. And I was like, oh, what a beautiful external way to write this man's internal struggle. Because otherwise, he's a 10 out of 10.
I just bought a new automobile the same way they did in the 1900s when movies were silent.
Wow. Well, I just got this Jeep from FlexCar.
All my smackaroos go to paying off the hefty value this little gas buggy lost the second I chugged out of the dealership. Toot toot.
Okay, well, FlexCar includes maintenance and insurance, and I can switch to an F-150 or Mercedes anytime.
What are you, high on giggle juice? Buying a car is supposed to be the bum deal you pretend is the bison's berries.
I have no idea what you're saying. The first and only month-to-month car lease. FlexCar, you drive everything.
To me, as like a romance reader, I found it very striking because in this book, like the man is the god during sex, no vulnerability. It's all about you, babe. And like, he never shows any insecurities. It's all about the woman. But then we see this moment and I was like, oh my God, that was such a beautiful moment.
Yeah. And I feel like vulnerability is really it's a bit of a buzzword right now. It's like, it's a bit of it's one of those therapy concepts or ideas that is very valuable and important, but also has been TikTokified. And so now people who've never been vulnerable in their entire lives are talking about vulnerability. But I feel like this is an area where romance has like been so ahead of the curve because I feel like all the super hot men are vulnerable, or they have these moments of just being totally honest with the woman they love. And that's what I loved about Gideon.
Yes. He was like very like it's so funny because like I know that he has this tragic backstory. He lost his partner and his has an injury, but like he really had his shit together. Like his shit was together.
Yeah. I was
like,
there really aren't that many red flags here. Like,
yeah, it's all green flags. And then of course, like the number one, or I think a main green flag is when he is like interacting with the foster kids, and like she's just like, "Daddy."
When he immediately can like talk to the troubled teen, and I was like, oh, perfect, absolute perfection.
Yes, yeah. And then like there was that moment where she was like bringing them lemonade, and she sees all of them like painting Dory's fence or something, and like and it was like her hormones went nuts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, mine too. Like.
We love a present dad. We do.
Yes. And he's just, and with everyone, like each one, like he can deal with the teenager. He can deal with the baby.
Yeah.
Like he at all ages, you know?
Oh, right. And then the end, at the very last fire, he goes back in the house to save the little boy who doesn't talk.
Exactly. And like they were like so, and it was like the little boy doesn't trust anyone. He only trusts like Dory and Megan. What if he stays there? Nope. He trusts Gideon, and we are just like, yes, Gideon wins.
Yeah.
He did it. It was such a heroic save.
Yeah, yes. I know.
So let's talk about the horny parts.
Great.
Like, it's really like, for me, like compared, I mean, I don't know like other things that you've read, or like if how sexy like mysteries get, or Agatha Christie. I guess Agatha Christie doesn't really. There's no sex scenes in that.
She's not sexy. No, not Agatha.
There's no sex scenes on that train. Okay, got it. Yeah.
I mean, probably she just wasn't writing about him.
Yeah, Agatha, get the first drafts in. I'm sure there's a lot of hot stuff happening. But like, it was pretty tame.
That's kind of what that's what my guess would have been. Because they really only have sex like twice, or they only have that one night together, and otherwise they're running around trying to solve the mystery.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
And that was what I always like liked about these books, is that like you like it was a slow burn.
Sure.
And you kind of like need that tension, because I always liked kind of like story in between the sex moments, because it is like, it does keep me turning the pages, not only because I want to find out who did it, but also like I want to get to the fucking,
Yeah. Okay, I want to talk about, I loved the two sex scenes so much because so the first time they have sex, it's like really fast, and they, it's very passionate. It's like bang, bang, bang. It's hot. It's anticipated. And then the second time, it's slower, it's more passionate, and there's like a moment when he reaches over and puts a condom on. And I was reading, and I was like, he did not do that the first time they were having sex. So, excuse me, oversight. Yeah. And then, so expertly, he like, I just was like, the way that this was written, I was so tickled and delighted by when he is like, I'm so sorry, I messed up, I didn't protect you, we didn't wear a condom the first time. And then that gets her into the reveal of I can't have kids. And I was just like, as my little writer brain was like, that was so perfectly done. The build to get us to that reveal. And also it made me, talking about how vulnerable Gideon is, I was like, I love this man who's like, we didn't use a condom, but don't worry, I'll raise the baby with you. I was like, wow, he's perfect. He's so perfect.
So perfect. I loved that moment because like, I really felt like it kind of like shows how necessary like sex is in this book, even though it is not as apparent as like something like 50 Shades of Grey or like something like that.
Yeah.
Because like this whole time we're thinking as readers, like how is, like Megan has had like a few times to kind of reveal to him why she left and why she felt like she had to leave. And of course it's at this moment where she is like almost like backed into a corner, and like her plan on how to kind of like drop this bombshell, if you will, like is just like him being like, okay, when you're pregnant, we'll name him Steve, and
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally. Yeah. He really was. He was positive that single time that they had sex without a condom was going to result in a baby.
Yes. And like, isn't it like it's so funny to me because like I do love like bringing up any sort of like birth control or health issues like when it comes to this stuff and kind of like making it sexy.
Yeah.
But like it's so funny because reading it I'm kind of like, okay, is this a book where they're going to talk about it or they're going to not talk about it?
Totally.
And they talk about it in this book.
Yeah. And there was a part of me that was like, Megan didn't notice? Like, wouldn't she have picked up on it? But I don't know, maybe in the throes of passion, she didn't.
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, and because like after that before that first sex scene happens, isn't that when she's like comforting him in the throes of like a nightmare?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot going on there.
There is a lot going on.
Yeah. What do you think of those like kind of like microtrope moments of like, I've got you, don't worry?
Yeah. Well, I loved that in that moment she was the protector, right?
Yes.
I think that's maybe it doesn't happen that often in the book, but I loved that reversal that, you know, he's panicking, he's freaking out, and she's like, it's okay. And he's like, let's bang.
Yeah, and then they do. It's so great. There's so much like what I love about like this is like we know that they're made for each other, they're puzzle pieces. There's so much like running into each other's arms. There's so much like physical comforting. And it's like just it's a hug we all need.
Yeah. Yes, totally agree.
Okay, so we talked about like the final save and everything. He saves the kid. I do want to talk about like this ending, like the final moment of there is a house burning. There's a house on fire. We discover who the arsonist and the stalker is, which is it's a side character. This is all about their love, but like yes, there's a side character who is a news reporter who has been purposely setting fires in order to like get Megan to. I don't know, like
to follow the story. Yeah.
Yes. She was setting fires to scoop her own story in a way.
Yeah. And she was working with an inmate who had been like released recently who she met. And oh man, I called that it was her early on.
You did?
That was my little mystery brain because immediately, because early on they were saying all the other suspects are men. And this woman who the reporter is a woman. And like pretty early on they were like, oh, well, it definitely, like, it's a man that's setting these fires. And I was like, but is it?
You caught it. See, I thought it was her partner.
That was the only other one that I was a little worried about. I was like, But I didn't feel like I didn't feel like we'd established him enough. I didn't think he'd been in the story enough.
Totally. There's a part of me that's like, okay, he wasn't the stalker, but he's like kind of like a stalker. And then I was like, I hope, since he's kind of like a stalker, I hope he's the love interest in one of the next books.
Yeah, totally. Well, because he was, because it was funny because like her firefighting partner he's also kind of described as like a protector too. But he's no Gideon. He can't stand up to Gideon.
No. And like, it's like so hard for us not to kind of sexualize firefighters, of course.
Sure.
Because like, is that a thing for you? Like kind of like these people who have to be in shape in order to save lives. They are in uniform. They need to be disciplined in order to do life-saving things. Like not only is it necessary, it's sexy.
Yeah, I guess I don't know that I have like you know what? There is a fire station like pretty close to where we live in Echo Park. And it is really funny because every time I don't know that I like necessarily have a thing for firefighters, but truly so often I'm like walking or driving by there and the firefighters that are like hanging outside doing their jobs, I'm like, what on earth is happening? These are the hottest men I've ever seen. It is the classic LA conundrum of like everyone is hot. Yes. Your doctor is hot. Like the man at the coffee shop is hot. Because I'm like, what is happening here? These are models. These are models that are working for the fire department.
Totally. Yeah. I feel like and not even just the fire department, like I feel like EMTs are like, or even like my sister-in-law is a nurse practitioner and she was telling me that like in the ER, when like someone is rushed in, you need like people who are in shape in order to lift the body up onto the table. And like, I think she's like in my head, she's like, I call them lifters. I don't know if that's the proper term in the hospital, but they're the hot lifters. Yeah. And I'm like, why are we not like doing like ER lifter?
Yeah.
Like, not the doc. We don't need the doctor. I'm just talking about the people who lift the bodies.
just the medical assistants who are called in, for the strong, beefy ones, to move you from one to another.
Do you watch The Pit at all?
Yeah.
So it's like those guys, like, they don't, I'm sure they're just atmosphere, one line of anything, but I'm kind of like, that is, like, sometimes I find them more sexy than, like, no offense against Roland Wiley. I find him very attractive. But, like, I'm just, like, I get really excited when I see, like, the men rushing them in and just, like, lift, 1, 2, 3, go. Like,
I will say that I was lifted because, like, when after I had a C-section, and afterwards I got, you got lifted, like, to a little gurney and then, like, lifted into a little bed, and, like, being like that, I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. Like, I'm going, woo! It's like a little ride.
I mean, I get it, because it's like, it's really, like, I mean, not that I would want anyone to be, like, it's not a situation anyone wants to be in, I'm sure. But it is, like, there is something comforting about feeling protected and just, like, knowing that, like, you are trusting your whole body to someone else and it's going to be okay. Like, that, I think that comes into play when it comes to, like, desire and pleasure and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. So we discovered the whole time it was Sandra.
Yes. Right. Okay. And so the final showdown is Sandra and Megan finds Sandra in the basement. The house is on fire.
Yes. She, like, basically is like, they're in, like, the foster house, like, there's, like, a separated, like, basement or something. And everyone's there being, thinking they're safe. But then, like, Megan goes downstairs to, like, get something or whatever. And she first trips over a body, and we see that the body is the suspect, the original suspect. And she's like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden, here comes the beautiful, the most put together woman on local Kansas City TV, Sandra. And she like reveals her like maniacal plan.
Yeah, and Megan's putting it all together. I will say Megan kind of had a habit in this book of being the girl in the horror movie that, like, runs into the dark basement all by herself.
Yes.
I just want to be like, girl, stop doing that.
Yes. Like, there is, like, something to, like, I mean, I have never been in an actual moment where I'm chased by a horror killer, right? Yeah. Like, and I don't know how I would react. But, like, when I see, like, in Scream or in this or in any other horror movie, when someone is running up to a location where it doesn't lead to a safer location, it is hard for me not to be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're running upstairs and then you're going to fall out a window. Like,
I feel like there's, like, a funny Geico commercial about this where it's like kids in a horror movie being like, where should we hide? In the empty house or behind the chainsaws? Like,
right. Yeah. And it's like, and the thing is that, like, I know this is fictional and I'm just like, come on, who am I to judge? I don't know what I would be like if I was in a panic situation in real. I'd probably do something even stupider. I will acknowledge that.
Yeah.
But, like, for this, when it's like, okay, she is a firefighter.
Sure. Right.
She's so badass. She saved a dog. Like, she's like crawling into different things. Like, come on.
Yeah. But so she, like, she's in the basement and it's burning and there's, like, no way that she can get out. And also I think, like, the people upstairs don't realize that there's a fire in the basement yet.
Yes. Yeah. It is a literal slow burn. But, like, she's, like, trapped in there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they get out, except for one kid.
Yeah.
And she, like, does Sandra die in this? I forget. Like,
She doesn't die, but Gideon rescues Megan, right? Like, Megan is like, there's no way out. And she's like, Gideon, you got to come get me. And he does.
Yeah.
So he busts in.
the mental thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He busts in, he gets her out, and then I think he gets Sandra out.
Okay. And she's like arrested. And so he gets her out and and they're outside and, like, things, whatever. He's like, listen, I have a proposal for you, babe. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, the youngest baby is missing. Like,
yeah.
It's not that it's not funny at all, but it is very funny that like he's like about to, like, it's not just I love you, I've always loved you. It's I'm proposing like, at this moment.
I'm getting down on one knee. I need you to marry me. Yeah. And he's like, and then, the kid that doesn't talk is inside.
He goes in, he rescues the kid. It's like so great. It's like honestly like a really beautiful moment. He comes back out. The kid who doesn't talk just survived his second fire.
I know, and he's
messed up. Dory is having like issues with breathing, but she's gonna be fine. But she's like over by the EMT. Everyone, the stalker is there, and like everyone just like overcame this like really. They're still in the midst of a traumatic kind of experience, and he's like, will you marry me? And then the boys were like, yeah, marry him and we'll all be a family. Like, it was such a great moment.
And don't forget the little boy that didn't talk. He talks.
He finally talks.
He's like, I want you to get married. Be mom and dad.
It was so sweet. And then there was like, and again, like they're a building. I mean, maybe it's our California where we're like, you know, seeing a fire these days is like horrifying and scary. And like, I don't understand how anyone's focus can be on anything else. Sure. But like here, they're just like, the building burns, but we have a happy family.
Yep. I think, you know, after all these people had been through in this book and then even before the book, they were like, you know what? Whatever. Just add it to the list.
Yes. Yeah. You know, and it's so, that's another reason why I like love these kind of like I loved these like kind of thrillery romance stuff because like the stuff that like just be escaping from like a kidnapper and you were like in a hole for like 8 days and then you're coming out and you're like planning your trip to Hawaii. I'm like, I love this. Like, I love like none of the actual trauma is like being addressed. Like, yeah, you're going to probably need therapy, but no, like everything's going to be fine. Like, I love the juxtaposition of something so harrowing and then something so lovely.
Yes, me too. And I think also because I was like, I bought in enough that I was like, yeah, these guys are going to figure it out. They're going to be okay. Wait, and you said therapy, and Megan mentions going to therapy several times in the book, and I was like, that's awesome. That felt kind of like cutting edge for 2003.
Absolutely, yeah, because it really like I love that like bringing up like kind of like therapy, like because she had to grow. She had to grow in order to get back with Gideon. And so like I think that like therapy, like for better or worse, is something that's like an integral part of a lot of people's lives and a lot of people's personal growth. And it's like, well, why not bring it into the story? It's how like we improve. Like,
yeah, totally.
Do it. Okay. So I want to play a game with you.
Yes, great.
This is called Harrowing Ordeal Pro and Con Proposals. So in this book, after he's proposing to her after the burning building, I'm going to describe to you a scenario where you are being proposed to by the love of your life. Like this is the guy.
Great.
But you just survived a very fictional, harrowing ordeal.
Great.
So
cool.
Based on your personality and your romance preferences, I want you to discuss the pros and cons of this type of marriage proposal and if it like bodes well for your marriage. Okay. So this is your first harrowing experience. You've just gone on a spelunking trip with a few other people. You've been trapped inside of a cave, but you're not alone. It is filled with zombies. You manage to escape all of these zombies. People in your spelunking party do get killed, but they weren't like your best friends. But it's still sad. You crawl out of the tunnel. You see sunlight for the first time in days. You just survived zombies. You just learned zombies existed.
Okay.
Here is your love interest proposing. What do you think of that harrowing ordeal proposal?
I think he's going to need to give me a little time because I just learned that zombies existed.
Right.
I need to tell some people that first.
Yes.
Yeah. I will say that if you take away the zombies, I think I could be into it because coming out of a cave and seeing sunlight, I feel like I could handle that. But the zombies really change things.
The zombies do change things.
Yeah, the zombies change things in a way that like I don't think I'm ever getting married now. I don't think I'm ever accepting any proposal. I know about zombies. I've seen them.
Zombies do, it does spell doom. Like it is like, oh, there's a zombie, we're done. Yeah.
No, Yeah. This is the beginning of 28 Days Later. Like, I'm too busy for this now.
Like, I would be like, okay, like, I would probably like jump to the next step of like, okay, zombies are real. We're all gonna die tomorrow. Let's get married now. Do you know what I mean?
Ooh, okay, I get that. I get that too.
So I think it could be either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, no. For me, I see where you're coming from, but for me, it would not be on the table.
Yes, I totally get that. Like, again, you know, I can't judge. I've never been in an experience where I was like, oh my God, zombies are real.
Sure.
How do I deal with that? Like, again. Okay. Here's your second scenario.
Great.
Okay. You work for a huge financial corporation. It's your company Christmas party, and you have been held hostage for hours. Yeah. You are on the roof with the main burglar, and he like made one last attempt to grab you, but he grabbed your watch, and then you like unclasp your watch, and the burglar falls off the roof to his death. He splat on the ground.
Yeah.
So you stopped him. You ended the whole ordeal. You're escorted back down by the police after, like, you know, this all just happened. You see the love of your life on one knee with the ring proposing. What do you think of that proposal?
I think I would say yes to that for sure. I mean, I just really was getting Die Hard energy from this description.
This is exactly from Die Hard.
Great, perfect. Yeah, I would say yes. If I'm remembering correctly, that's a second chance. That's a second chance romance, right?
It is the second chance romance with a capital THE.
That's right. So this man this man that I've divorced has just proven to me that he can save my life and all of my coworkers' lives. And Alan Rickman just died. Well, God, I do love Alan Rickman, but I would take Bruce Willis back in this moment. Absolutely, I would.
Hands down, there is nothing more romantic than Die Hard, and I will die on that hill. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there is something like I feel like a lot of these like thriller romances that I'm like kind of like, this is why we love Die Hard, and like I think men need to embrace that they love Die Hard because it's a romance. Like, get over yourselves. Yeah, the explosions are cool. It's the love story. Come on, everyone get vulnerable.
Yeah.
Okay, here's your final one.
Okay.
You've been inflicted with a curse.
Oh, no.
And you just spent the last 3 days trying to like outrun this demon who's been trying to who's been trying to kill you. Okay. You think you found a way to break this curse, but it involved digging up a dead body in order for you to perform a seance.
Sure.
But then suddenly the corpse that you dug up comes alive. And so now, like, but you defeat you defeat this demon. You are headed home and you're covered in like mud. You just saw a corpse come back to life. And there's 1% chance of you thinking, I don't know if I fully beat this curse. Like, I might still be cursed. There might, for the rest of my life, I might have to be running from a demon. Yeah. You walk in the door. There's the love of your life proposing. What do you think about that harrowing proposal?
Okay. So here is where I identified with Meg, our protagonist. She really didn't want to let Gideon back into her life until she had all of her shit together. And she didn't want to let him back into her life because, you know, she couldn't have children, et cetera, et cetera. It was a blocking concern. I think if there's a 1% chance in my brain that I still have this curse and there's a demon, I don't think I'm entertaining any sort of romance.
Agreed.
I don't think it's on the table. I think it's like, go with God, get off this island, get away from me. I'm busy. I have to figure out whether or not I'm cursed.
Yes, 100%. So, like, how would you say no? What would that seem?
I would say,
can you give me tips on how to say no? Because I'm in that situation.
I would say, listen, buddy. Listen, buddy. Hey, buddy. You know, I think that, unfortunately, you just got to be honest. And I think the pro of that is that the person who's proposing to you is probably going to think you have severe mental illness. So maybe that will make you saying no to them a little easier on them. Yes,
because they're like, oh, I just avoided a train wreck. Yeah. So if anything, like, that's the perfect time to propose.
Right, exactly. It's a great non-confrontational get out of jail card. Like, sorry, honey, it's not you, it's me. And by me, I mean the demon that is possessing me still, I think, maybe, possibly.
And he's just like, whew, so glad we had this conversation because I was unsure. My friends told me this is what I needed to do, but I know I did. Good luck to you. I'm going to move on. And it's just like a really, really healthy breakup.
Yeah. He's Homer Simpson just backing into the bushes.
Yeah.
Like, bye.
Yeah. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to cut these boundaries here. And then I'll get another chance at love.
Yeah.
Okay. This was a great game I'm so glad that like I asked you these questions and I got this perspective.
Thank you.
Because like they could happen. You could be proposed after a zombie apocalypse, you know, and so now we know what to do.
Yeah. And I feel this was like illuminating for me also just to know where I prioritize love in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, bring this into your own life, you know, like,
Sure.
you know, yeah, like I hope that this was like a learning lesson for you. A learning lesson. Okay. I want to ask your final thoughts on the book.
Yeah. Oh,
and
great.
And anything that you didn't get a chance to share, any thoughts that you have, here's your chance. And then I also want a rating based on how much you enjoyed reading it. So instead of like, so it's like 1 out of 5, but instead of like stars, I was thinking we can do roses because roses
Wonderful.
is
Great.
the thing that like is the object that the stalker leaves that to like really freak out Megan.
Yeah.
For me, I'm giving it 5 out of 5 roses. I had so like this is brought me back. I loved it. It was so fun.
Oh my gosh. I think, okay, I wrote down 4.5 out of 5 roses, but honestly, I would give it a 5 out of 5 roses. I don't know why I made it 4.5 out of 5.
No,
I
it's
just
good.
kind of
It's
had
a good grade. Yeah.
And I just had this instinct of like, you can't give anything a 5 out of 5, but that's trauma that I need to work through. So, but I give it 5 out of 5 roses too. I had so much fun. It was really delightful.
You know, I give everything 5 out of 5, and I think that's trauma I need to work through. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like this is again, we're all learning about ourselves. Like this is what the experience is all about.
Yeah. Totally.
Well, I am so glad that you like introduced this book to me. I'm so glad it exists, and I had so much fun discussing it with you, Ellen. Oh my God,
Becky, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here, and I honestly think your grandma. Like, I just am like, this wouldn't be here without her, and like, I love that you have this little detail in your personal history that exists, and that you were able to share it on this show. I also want you to share where we can find you, where we can find Wackadoodle Pod, everything.
Great. Well, yeah. Here are my plugs. You can listen to Wackadoodle Time wherever you get your podcasts. It's super fun. We do an episode every week. It comes out on Tuesdays. And then also, I wrote a humor book called Cinderella and the Glass Ceiling and Other Feminist Fairy Tales. It's a really good gift book if there's someone in your life who like loved Disney as a kid, because we kind of skewer it lovingly. It's very fun. The illustrations are very cool. They look great. And then if you're in LA, I teach acting classes also, and that's all just on my website, which is ellenhaun.com. And yeah. Those are my plugs.
Awesome. I love it. I will share the link to your book in the show notes so everyone can pick it up, because that is right up our alley, you guys. Oh my goodness. Ellen, thank you so much for being a guest. This was so much fun.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me.
Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Too Stupid to Live. I hope you all have a vulnerably red hot rest of your day.
I just bought a new automobile the same way they did in the 1900s when movies were silent.
Well, I just got this Jeep from FlexCar. Maintenance and insurance are included, and I can switch cars anytime.
What are you, high on giggle juice?
The first and only month-to-month car lease. FlexCar, you drive everything.